There is another Sapa that surfaces when the cameras stop and the square exhales. It is the Sapa of rain-heavy paths, where mud sloughs toward the valley, of mountain passes swallowed by mist until visibility shrinks to a few steps. In peak season, the stone stairs to cloud lookouts become an endless queue. A sunrise can feel like shuffling along a ridge while laughter and chatter drown the wind. Villages that once smelled of hearth smoke and heard the clack of looms may bristle with cafes and tripods, leaving too little room for locals to breathe. Sapa remains beautiful, but the beauty is thin. One hurried footfall, one forgotten plastic bag, and the edge of the mist frays. Modern convenience brings us to the clouds faster, but it also tempts us to ignore the mountain's rhythm. A cable whisks you across a valley in minutes. A broad road kisses the forest's lip. We arrive, we check in, we depart, rarely asking what we took and what we left. When everything becomes a spot, Sapa risks collapsing into a reel of images. The cloud bridge to shoot, the petroglyph field to shoot, the waterfall to shoot. Pictures aren't the villain. The danger is when they replace the slow, whispering encounter where you hear pebbles jitter in the stream and smell the cool hush of a post-rain forest. Nature answers in an unsentimental tone. In the mountains, storms are seasonal punctuation. Flash floods and landslides are consonants carved into the alphabet of altitude.
Roads pretty as silk ribbons can turn survivalist if we ignore signs, safety, or forecasts. On snow years, crowds rush uphill for photographs, but snow means severe cold, slick stone, and rescue runs that never make it into the frame. Amid the radiant postcards, locals sometimes blur into the background. When trends knock too loudly, hand-woven brocade struggles against cheap replicas. Traditional dishes are sweetened or stripped down to please palates. Folk tales shrink into a hurried explanation. If we're not careful, the very soul of Sapa, its languages, customs, tempo, gets flattened by a universal standard named convenience and mass appeal. The dark truth, then, is not a scandal, but a hard question. How does a 1,600-meter town keep the scent of forest, the call of markets, the unhurried footfall, so visitors don't turn it into a temporary stage and residents don't have to sell what they have guarded for generations?
Whatever answer exists won't live on a tourism poster or a million-view clip. It lives in small habits, cutting the engine on descents to hear the woods, pocketing a stray wrapper, paying fairly for hand-woven cloth, starting early and leaving early so dusk belongs to the villages again. When we tell Sapa's story, Vietnam Travel 4K Video refuses to be a neutral camera. Our stance is simple: respect the mountain's breath and the people's rhythm. The more famous Sapa becomes, the more it needs viewers who savor slowly. Treat it as a check-in sprint, and you'll miss the delicate sediments of memory, the hearth smoke threading a wooden roof, the click of water on stone after rain, the look a vendor gives when you ask a price as if asking a story. Beauty at 1,600 meters doesn't thrive on haste. It opens when we lower our voices, take one step back, and truly look. Our view on shortcuts is similar. Cable cars, big roads, modern comforts, they exist for a reason. But they are not an excuse to switch off curiosity or the traveler's minimal finesse. Reaching Fansipan in minutes can be wondrous the first time. A morning walk along the terraces, greeting early risers heading to the fields, listening to your own footsteps, that's what lingers long after a video ends. Travel is not speedrunning, it is the art of attention. We also lean toward paying fairly rather than bargaining at all costs. A hand-woven shawl, a slow-cooked meal, a homestay with a genuine smile. These are more than products. They are bridges connecting our audience to communities that carry Sapa through every wet and dry season. Pay the right price, leave the trail clean. Visit crowded spots early and depart early. Silence external speakers so balconies at dusk belong to the wind. Small choices that add up to the most meaningful thank you. And if we must face the crowd's dark edge, our position is this. Don't fight Sapa with anger, protect it with intelligence. Choose off-peak windows. Unfold a paper map instead of outsourcing everything to algorithms. Ask questions before you hit record. Does this frame trespass on someone's moment? Do you really need to step half a meter into a rice bed for a brighter shot? The ideal we invite is not a crowdless, pure Sapa, but a maturing Sapa growing alongside responsible guests. In the end, Sapa does not need embellishment. It is cinematic enough if filmmakers know when to stop. When the mist thickens, when the past speaks, when a local shakes their head, that is the cue to put the camera down. A good film is not only stunning, it is ethical. For us, that ethic begins with a modest promise. Meet above the clouds and leave as lightly as the clouds themselves. Night in Sapa closes with a thin blade of light along the cloud's edge. On the square, footsteps scatter, stalls fold like pages tucked into a coat. Up a little slope, a brazier still glows, sending off a sweet smoke that feels like farewell. You realize you've moved through so many frames, terraces like stairs to the sky, petroglyphs like letters from ancestors, a silver waterfall, a cold summit. Yet what remains is not the elevation gained or the photo you love best. It is the mountains breathing, now braided with your own, slower, deeper, warmer. Tomorrow, the mist will seep in from the ridges as if no film was ever shot. Early risers will unbolt doors, coax a flame to life, set a steaming pot by a fogged window. Out there, the past still cradles the spine of the range. The stream keeps speaking its clear language. Sapa won't hold you. It only lays a light hand on your sleeve and says, "Come back." You know you've left threads untied, a weekend market not yet walked, a bend not yet lingered on, a small cafe above the valley not yet sat in long enough. That absence is not a gap, it is an invitation. Back in the lowlands, you may miss something tiny. The clink of silver on indigo hemp, the cane scent from a cracked bamboo tube of rice, the cold gulp at Heaven's Gate. You'll scan through your footage and catch what no script mentions. A child darting through frame, a chicken straying into stove smoke, a leaf falling slower than all the others. These scraps won't sell tickets or summon a million views, yet they endure, like a thin grain of salt that lingers on the tongue long after the meal. If you return, arrive a little earlier, leave a little lighter, and say thank you in the language Sapa understands best. Silence at the right time, fair prices in the right places, a smile for the right people. Mountains don't love loud promises. They trust small footsteps. Perhaps that's why altitude softens us. The nearer we are to clouds, the lighter we must be. And when you set your suitcase down at home, keep the habits learned up there. Look slowly, breathe deeply, and give beautiful things enough time to speak for themselves. Our film ends here. The story does not. At some elevation, mist is still layering. Someone is lighting a stove. A wooden door just opened, and somewhere on a cold stone ridge, the wind is rereading what we told. Meet me above the clouds.